What's up, everybody? Welcome to Dare to Win Season 2, Episode 4. My name is Finn Hodges and I'm your host. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about how it's not lonely at the top in entrepreneurship, but it's lonely at the bottom, okay? How the hardest part is starting and going from 0 to 1. I'm talking straight up the build phase. No money, no connection, no skills, no experience. When everyone around you thinks you're crazy and no one believes in you, this is what I want to really spend time on in this episode. And then I'll talk about a lot of things that I went through during this phase, what you'll see as you grow, and stuff like that. So without further ado, we're sort of gonna jump right into it. When you're in this phase, you're looking straight uphill, okay? For me, I remember when I was just starting out, I was crazy in everyone's eyes. The most like stingy thing would be when family friends of my parents would ask me like where I'm going to school, and I would say, and this is after I took a gap year, so year 2, and I'd be like, I'm not in school, I'm doing this. And they'd sort of be like, oh, that's cool. And you could just tell like in their eyes, they're like total like, this kid's an idiot. When you're in this phase, no one really believes in you, and people always complain about that, like, oh, no one believes in me, no one believes in me, no one believes in me. And they say this stuff as if someone would. Like, why would someone believe in you when you're just starting? They have no reason to, and that's just part of the journey, right? So when you're in this phase, don't expect people to believe in you. But I'll circle back to what I really want to talk about. And when you are starting and you're looking straight uphill, you really have to understand that there's no playbook for this phase. Like, you need to create something out of nothing. And this is the part, going from 0 to 1, that 99% of people drop off at and they don't make it past. So if you can just keep going, and that's really the key, just show up every day and keep going through this phase, you are going to beat 99% of people, and then you're already gonna be the 1% in entrepreneurship. So you're gonna be that much more likely to succeed just because 99% of the competition has completely fallen off, or they've pivoted completely and gone from cryptocurrencies to NFTs. Or e-commerce NFTs. Make money online, Forex. So in this phase, it's sort of like, as Gary Vee says, you need to put your head down and grind. You have to eat shit, and that's really true. Like, you need to focus on building your skill set. I talked about that in my last episode, but it's really the key. Like, you're not gonna be able to create anything without skills, and the only way to create skills is through action. Learn for free. A lot of my learning at the beginning was through consuming YouTube content, but not getting stuck on it. It is a huge problem if you just sit there and watch hours and hours and hours of YouTube without taking action, because you're gonna have a clutter of information, you're gonna think you know everything, but you're gonna have absolutely no tangible skill because you never went out there and did it. What's better is to take a day, consume a lot of content, take the next day, filter out the content, pick what you really liked, and then start executing on it. Refer back to the same pieces of videos rather than pulling in new content until you start grabbing onto skills and creating momentum for yourself, okay? But I'm going back to being at the bottom because that's really what I want to focus at. You have to understand, like, no one else is gonna be doing what you're doing. I remember very vividly being the only person in my city that I knew from my high school friend group that was not in college, and I'm not talking about people just in college, that was doing entrepreneurship or that was trying to take the non-traditional route. And I lived in Brooklyn, New York, the year after that. I still had absolutely no friends trying to do what I was trying to do. I met one person who was like-minded that whole entire time. It is very hard to connect with people who's doing entrepreneurial things, especially when you're a young entrepreneur with nothing to offer, okay? Because like I said, when you're young, you don't have money, you don't have skills, you don't have clout, you don't have any results, you're totally a nobody. All you have is drive and grit, but that's what you believe, because no one else is gonna believe it because they have no reason to, right? You haven't proven yourself. And don't complain that no one believes in you, because I wouldn't believe in you either. You have to create that results so that people start to believe in you. That's going from 0 to 1. And how do you do that? You literally roll up your sleeves and you go to work. You have to throw things at the wall and see what sticks. This is very old-fashioned, okay? You have to understand that you're not gonna get rich in 3 months. You're not gonna get rich in 6 months. You're barely gonna make any money, okay? You just need to learn and acquire skills and be at the bottom. Be willing to find a CEO in your town who's a baller. Have the balls to ask him if you could work for him for completely free for 3 months. Perform out of your mind because you obsessed over whatever it is you're helping him with, And then 3 months later, when you're so good, tell him that you have to leave and watch how much money he offers you. That's something very similar to what I did, okay, to get my first job. I worked for basically no money, and I figured it out, I performed, and then I got salaried for an online job where I could still continue to build my skill set and I could still have the freedom to do other things. I created that for myself just by showing someone with money that I can make the money, okay? And I don't want to start going off on one of my tangents on how to get started as an entrepreneur, because what I'm really talking about is what it's like being at the bottom, because I think a lot of people can relate to that. And here's a few key things I've learned that you need to understand when you are at 0 and you're trying to get to 1, when you're eating shit, as Gary Vee says. And I talked about this on LinkedIn the other day, but one of the things is when you break down, which you will, like you're gonna have some sort of breakdown. It's gonna be doubt, it's gonna be anxiety, it's gonna be, what is it that people call it? Panic attacks. You have to pick yourself back up, like you do. That's gonna happen. Everyone around you isn't gonna understand what you're doing. You're gonna be alone. You're gonna be lonely, okay? Being lonely sucks. But when you do break down, you have to take a step back and you need to start understanding how to evaluate and how to grab your emotions, okay? Understand that your emotions are just emotions. So if you feel anxious, there's a reason you feel anxious, and it's just a feeling. It's just a thought in your mind. That doesn't mean you need to like freak out, or it doesn't mean you need to change everything. Sure, anxiety could be a sign, like your body telling you, hey dude, like maybe if you got your to-do list done today, you wouldn't be freaking out about needing to get something done at Friday at 4:30 p.m. before end of day. Okay, sometimes it's helpful, but when you're anxious, when you're angry, when you're doubting yourself, a lot of times, if you just take a step back and say, hey, why am I feeling this way? You're gonna get through it. And you also have to feel that emotion. It's like when you're scared and you're fearful. You need to feel the fear and do it anyway. It is wrong advice, and I know this is polarizing, and you shouldn't like listen to me, and you shouldn't, you know, take this with a grain of salt, because I'm not like a therapist or anything, but I think it's wrong when people say if you're fearful or you're anxious to fight that, or to like, you know what I mean? Like you have to feel it. You have to let it like in, like you're anxious. Okay, tell yourself, right now I'm anxious. Okay, why? First off, you'll say it, you'll realize the reason's probably ridiculous. And when you say it, you just get it out of your system. But this isn't like, I don't want to talk about that stuff because that's not my place. What I'm saying is you need to build a relationship with yourself where when those emotions arise, you have to be able to manage them, because entrepreneurship, it is lonely. You are sort of in it by yourself, right? You're creating your own success, your own reality. If you don't have a relationship with your emotions, they're gonna beat you. If your mind beats you as an entrepreneur, you are fucked. That's why I work out so hard, or that's why I've done crazy fitness challenges in the past, and I will continue to do them in my life. When you train your mind to have control over your emotions, you will win. I talked about the pastor at my church. One of the things he said last weekend was, close the door. And he's basically saying, like, picture your mind like you have a wall that you build in your mind, and you can open and close a door. If you feel a negative emotion, understand it, but train yourself to be able to close the door so it doesn't affect your whole body. So if doubt starts to come in, you can close that door because you know you're feeling doubt, and just not let it come in, because your mind has control over your body. But you're not able to get that control if you resist these emotions. So again, not really my place to go in depth on these things. That's my personal experience with building a relationship with those emotions, but it is a key that you do the same thing for yourself. Figure out how you can deal with it and do that, because if you let those things cripple you, you're screwed. Next, understand that there is no rule book. So you need to be very comfortable, and this is why a lot of people who don't have like the finesse or the majiggle jiggle, this is why a lot of high level smart people suck at entrepreneurship, because they can't do anything that's not by the books. That's another polarizing statement. One of my favorite entrepreneurs, he's from Harlem, his name is John Henry. He talks about it all the time, being able to like finesse, to maneuver. You learn that by not following the rules, by understanding there are alternate ways than what's in the book, by understanding there is no yes or no or right or wrong in entrepreneurship. You have to create that. You have to figure that out. Yes, there's a cheaper way. Yes, there's a more efficient way. How do you do it? You figure it out. You're not gonna read about it. You have to like finesse, okay? And that's very hard for people to grab, and a lot of people they like kind of like neglect that. Oh my gosh, and I don't want to go too deep into a story, but it was related to a relationship we were building, and the gentleman just couldn't get over finding other people's validation or finding the by the book answer for the problem. And we ended up recently figuring out ways to solve every problem he laid out about maybe 15 times quicker and 20 times cheaper, because everything he was doing was technical, by the book. He had no idea how to finesse or how to bootstrap or how to put things together to get them to a point where then you could invest a little more in. And that is something that you need to be really, really, really good at, okay, when you're starting out. You need to be able to find backdoor solutions to solve problems, because you're not gonna have the resources to do it at a high level anyway. You have to be scrappy. Underdogs talk about it all the time in sports when they beat the best teams. You have to be scrappy. You have to find ways to get under their skin and to win. And it won't be the traditional, expensive, sexy way, because you just won't have the resources. And you have to love and enjoy every single moment of being at the bottom and appreciate the journey, and not just look at it as when I get here, I'll be happy, or when I achieve X, I'll be happy. When my email list is 5,000 people, I'll be happy. When my business does $1,000 a day in sales, I'll be relieved. Like, if that's your mindset, you're not gonna make it. You're not cut out for it, okay? You're gonna hit one of those milestones, you're not gonna feel the satisfaction you want, and you're gonna eventually stop, you're gonna fold, you're not gonna be able to keep going. Because what gives you the ability to keep going is you actually love it. When I posted this post on LinkedIn the other day, someone made a really, really, really good comment, and it was like, but I love the part when I'm at the bottom. Or something like, interesting you find it the hardest because I love the part. And I said, yeah, you're right. Just because it's the hardest doesn't mean it's not the most fun. Like, the hardest time going from 0 to 1 in whatever new business I start or venture I get into, that is the most fun part. And that's how I have that comfort knowing, like, I'm in it for the journey. Like, I love figuring it out. Okay, that is the key. Like, loving the journey and enjoying the process, that is how you guarantee success. Because if you love that, like, everything about entrepreneurship is to keep going. Like, you're gonna get smacked in the face way more times than you're gonna win. The wins just significantly outweigh the times you get smacked in the face. That's why entrepreneurs are very successful. They can just take all the punches that are thrown at them. And early in my career, especially these past 3 months, as I've experienced lots and lots of wins, those 4 principles I broke down. When you break down, pick yourself back up, understanding your emotions, be able to finesse and to figure things out that are backdoor and off the rule book, and loving the journey with all your heart. Those are seriously what made me experience these huge wins. When I started to see like real momentum and success is when I implemented those 4 principles, or was when I fully felt confident that I had those down. So I want you guys to really remember, like, when you're at that phase where you're just starting out in entrepreneurship and it's lonely, I've been there. Every single person who you look up to, they've been there. It is going to be lonely, and that's okay. Like, it's not healthy, and I said this, it's not healthy to live in a lonely life, but it takes a huge amount of sacrifice to see success. And you do have to drop those nights where you're partying a lot with your friends every weekend. Like, can you still go out? Of course. But is it gonna be every weekend? No, like, that's the reality, because someone who doesn't will crush you. And it is competition. Like, you have to be a killer. You have to be able to finesse to win. I don't care what someone tells you differently. When you're going from 0 to 1, if you wanna get out of that lonely phase as fast as possible, be a killer. Like, just cut all the BS, cut all the fat from your life, cut those loser friends. Like, trust me, like, you will thank me. Be alone. Embrace the suck, embrace the loneliness, embrace the eating shit, put your head down. Like, you can climb out of that phase in 3 months. Will you be loaded with cash after those 3 months? No, you'll still have no cash. But you'll have connections, you'll have skills, you'll be able to start creating that cash for yourself. And that's what I'm saying. It's okay that it's lonely. I want to sympathize with the 1 or 2 people watching this, or I want to connect with them who are down right now, or upset, or not as motivated, or honestly they feel like shit because they're lonely, because no one can connect with them, because they're doubting themselves, because they miss the safety or the security or the partying or whatever it is. I want to tell you I was there, And the best decision I ever made was to not fold and to keep going. And the same thing will happen to you if you just go. Just do the work. I'm telling you, take the risk. When you have no money and no skills and you're at zero, you know why I miss this time sometimes? Because you are the most dangerous. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Nothing. Like, you can call someone, some rich CEO, you can tell him you'll do anything for him. If he says, no, screw you, kid, get out of here, whatever. Call the next one, call the next one. If you want to learn how to sell things on Amazon and 2 weeks later, like, you cold email 30 clients, next thing you know, you make some money, like, you have the ability to take so many risks, to try so many different industries out, to throw so many things at the wall and see if they stick. Do it. Like, that's the part I miss about that. Are you going to be alone? Yes. Are people going to call you crazy? Yes. Are people going to laugh? Yeah. They're going to, yeah. And I've been there. When I first started, my first company was a clothing company. A week later, I posted about meat because I was selling butcher shop products online. A month after that, I posted about hemp. I didn't care if people thought I was like full of it or like whatever. And I get that feeling. People are going to think that. But it's just how it is. I'll wrap this up by saying, I get it. I know how you feel. Like, I promise you, it's not as bad as you think. Like, time goes quick. 3 months will come by in the blink of an eye, 6 months, 1 year, and you're gonna be out of this phase. You're gonna connect with people. You're gonna get results. You're gonna meet some of the best friends in your life who you haven't even met yet, who are in your niche. You might even meet a girl who does things that you love doing because you put that energy out there. That really is a nice thing that happens. I know it from experience. So just keep going. Like, trust that your like lonely time is gonna result in something way better than what would happen if you don't allow yourself to just put your head down and focus. Because even though it sucks, it's the best thing you can do to be with yourself and to better yourself as a person for a couple months. I didn't mean for this episode to get so deep. I enjoyed making it. I appreciate you guys listening. If you got any value from this episode, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you can download it, give me a review, share it with a friend, let me know what you think in the comments. All that feedback helps a lot. It helps me grow. And be sure to follow me on LinkedIn. The link is in the description. That's the channel I'm most active, as well as TikTok at FinnHodgins and Instagram at FinnHodgins. Guys, go swim with some sharks, keep going, and I will catch you guys in the next episode.